How would you like to be able to make the right lifestyle choices for your overall health? We have Janette Derham, and she'll tell us how to do this. And what's so special about Janette is that she empowers global individuals to have a healthier lifestyle so that they can take control of their health by shifting people's way of thinking and creating transformation. And on a personal level, I'm a massive fan of Janette because she is promoting love and joy and health around the world. And she really is a massive contributor to thousands of people worldwide doing that. So I'm a massive, massive fan. So Janette, tell us, how can entrepreneurs and people in general make better choices for their overall health?
So Lily, I've been studying about nutrition for, I don't know, so many years. And I was looking for
Hero podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
What is it that creates health? So when I started studying about nutrition, I thought it was about the food, the food choices. And I tried every diet and, I thought, well, this must be it, or maybe this is it. But I didn't see any changes until I realized that it wasn't about the food. It was about a balance in your life. And that is actually food. They call it secondary, food. So your primary food is actually self-love, and also working on the mental blocks that are in the way of you having an absolutely outstanding life and living the life that you were born to live. And when I discovered that, everything changed, and it created this transformation in my life, and it has changed others. And it took me years to find this, but when I found it, everything just like a domino effect fell into place.
Wow, I'm so happy that you said that, because I came to a very similar conclusion and I started feeling more self-love. And I think for a long time I was self-hating myself to the point that I remember doing, for example, events or posting on social media and just hating how I sounded. And I think that since I started doing more affirmations and more self-love practices, I find that I'm finding a higher appreciation, not only of myself, by myself, but other people around the world. I feel like I have these red carpets that keep getting rolled around the world for me. And I think it starts with self-love. And I wasn't expecting you to say that, but I'm so happy that you did. So tell us more about what needs to happen for people to find self-love or other lifestyle choices that you believe are important for them to feel that balance in their life.
Yeah, so, if you look at all of the aspects of our health, so we've got the food, we've got our spiritual nourishment, mental health, exercise, financial health, and also social. So if all of these are in balance, that creates a very healthy lifestyle. But if one of them is not good, so say if you're very socially, everything's together, but financial is not healthy, that's going to affect everything. So it's about looking at your life and seeing where there's an imbalance. And what was the biggest shift for me was discovering that I was really having, I was playing out in my future a lot of the traumas that happened in my past that I wasn't dealing with. And when I discovered, I found a way of finding, they call it your blind spots. And it's like releasing these parts of your life. I'll give you an example. We had the crisis in 2009, and then we had COVID. Well, my business has really suffered, and I kind of decided that I was burnt out. And after COVID, I couldn't seem to get going. No matter what I did, nothing seemed, I'm sure you can recognize that. It was like somebody was pushing me back all the time. So in my head, I had this idea, there's no way I'm going to do another business because the same COVID could happen again, or this could happen again. So, and I saw that my life wasn't moving forward till I learned how to find what was happening, which was this pattern, and remove it, and then opened up the way for me to start creating what I've actually been wanting to do for the last 30 years, and is to open a wellness center incorporating everything, not just food, but everything, even music, dance, food, because I believe human beings, we are a wonderful people. I love being human, but I think we've lost our way because of all the conditioning and the programming. And if we could actually connect again and open our hearts to each other, I think it's going to be the future, is finding our humanity back. And that's my biggest calling. And I'm very excited because I feel now I'm ready to really do this.
Thank you. Tell us, what would be the first step for someone who is recognizing they have an imbalance, whether it's financial or, I don't know, spiritual or, I don't know, health-wise? Where would they go to start finding a solution for everything?
Well, I think to start it off, it's called, it's the wheel of life, it's what they call it. It would be to sit down and write down all the areas of their life which feel that they're doing well in, and ones that need work. And it's best that they find a buddy, I call it, somebody you know in your life that you can share this with. So you could set up, say, a WhatsApp group with various people who say, look, I'm committed to creating a change. This is what I do. So what you're doing is you're making a commitment with another person. So once a week you go on Zoom and you would discuss where these situations are in your life that you're struggling with. And then from there, you would get certain advice. If it's a serious thing that's like, say, a very huge trauma in your past, you would probably need to go to somebody who's very good at going to that place and helping you to release it. But in general, it's great because you're actually saying to people, look, I'm going this month, like I'm actually doing it this month with two friends. We're going on a carbohydrate, like as in no carbohydrates and no sugar month. But when you do it with others, you feel like you have a responsibility to the group. And in fact, Lily, if you want to know what foods are out there that are causing most of our problems, and I'm sure you're aware of it, is the grains and the sugars. I call them both the heroin and our cocaine of our food. And it's laced into everything. And look at these pregnant men walking around, and all of that is created through, you're laughing, but it's true. It's mainly carbohydrates, the grains and the sugars. I mean, sugar's white, bread is white. They've changed it and altered these foods so much that they're not really fit for human consumption. And also the super processed foods, we're actually poisoning ourselves. So I'd start there, and clean water and clean air, all the basic elements. And that's one area. And then you need to look at the mental health. I'm really big into brain health now, because look at all the people with Alzheimer's and dementia. It's just going crazy. Diabetes epidemics. So it's looking at the overall picture, because we stuff our faces because something's going on in our subconscious. So that would be a good place to start.
Thank you. Tell us, what needs to happen so we can have more self-love?
Well, I can only talk from my own experience. So I could tell you stories about my life and my past and relationships and all the rest. But something happened to me about 2 years ago when I realized that as a child, I was looking for love in all the wrong places, as they say. And my last relationship broke up, and I kind of thought to myself, why am I creating this all the time? And I realized that I was always looking for love outside of myself. I was like, as somebody loves me, then I'm complete. And it dawned on me that it wasn't to find it outside of me. It was actually, as I said, falling in love with me. And that happened. And that I completed me. I realized there's no soulmate out there. You've got to find that looking back at you in the mirror. And that was the beginning. And then I ended up meeting a partner that was just like, I wasn't looking for him. And we have the most beautiful relationship. Finally, I have found true love by first falling in love with myself. And the second thing I did is I actually came across a course that in 3 days taught me the tools of how to break into the blind spots, the things that have happened in the past that have kept me in prison, and to release them. And it's transformational, Lily, what's happened. So it's those kind of things that have really got me into the place I'm in now. So, yeah.
Thank you. Tell us the 10 commandments for someone who wants to create better lifestyle choices so they can have better health.
Well, everybody's different. It's a word called bio-individuality. So what works for somebody is not going to work for other people. So to generalize it, as I said, stay away from the super processed foods, all the synthetic, I call them food-like substances. It's not food at all, which is about 90% of what's in supermarkets. Buy as much as you can local. Look at your blood group as well. That's very interesting to see what blood group you are, because either everybody's blood group kind of has, different, what works for an O blood group is certain foods, but for A it's different. So you need to look at that. That's pretty good. The other thing is to look again at your, are you moving? Very important. So it's not necessarily that you have to do 20 kilometers run or any of those things. It's balance again. And you probably have heard about how, it's best to, like the way animals run, you go out or you go for a bike ride or you go to a gym and you really, get that heart going. Heart is a muscle. And the other thing is to look at, again, how you've got to start looking at what your brain is thinking. Stop and kind of think, what am I doing? One great thing to do is to look at all the times you complain, that voice all the time, and it's mainly negative. You need to look at what you're reading, what you're taking in. Look at the friends that are in your life. There are friends that are toxic that you need to maybe let go of. You need to look at relationships with your family. That's also very important. And also, there's so we've got the exercise, we've got the mind, we've got the body, and then your spirituality is very important. Giving yourself time out and not always, the stressful world we're living in. Choose the things you watch on the television, or I would rather throw the television out the window, to tell you the truth. But, because there's so much negativity out there, you're laughing. Things like, we've probably heard about how it's great to get, when you have a shower, to do a cold shower at the end. It's all those little things in the day that make all the difference. But Lily, the big one is going into the subconscious mind and getting rid of all of those very, very like they're self-sabotaging, beliefs that have started when you're young. Could be anything. You could have been pushed by your sister down a stairs, or and you hit your head, and that's sitting in your system. Or what happened to me is my mother brought me to school and just left me there. In those days they didn't wait, and I felt abandoned, and that's just sitting there in my system my whole life. Like, all of that needs to be looked at, and I think that is really the key to optimum health. Yeah.
Thank you. You're always at the edge of, the latest longevity tools and healing tools and, pain relief tools. And every time I speak with you, I'm always astonished to hear about the latest, tools and techniques that you're using. Are you able to share any of those that you've used that, have had some sort of magical effect on people's health and results that they've had?
Yes. Well, I've always been into frequency health, because Einstein said frequency is the future of medicine. So I use bioresonance, and it's a light frequency scan, which I love. So I can actually scan your whole body, everything, even down to your auras and your chakras. I can look at where the source is of the inflammation. Inflammation is your cells are on fire, right? So it starts somewhere. Think of a fire, the fires that happened in LA. It started somewhere and then it goes everywhere. Our bodies, the inflammation starts, it could be in the pancreas, it could be in the brain, it could be anywhere in your body. And we need to take the fire out. So I can actually look and see where the fire started. And one of the things that I highly recommend is omega-3 oils, to start there. because omega-3 oils is what takes the fire out. And I don't know whether you know how we are way out of balance with omega-3 oils and omega-6. Omega-6 oils are the very stiff oils, which is actually causing people to like stiffen. And we need to get that balance back. That's very, very important. And I'm also a big fan of clean air, because we're breathing in, you don't want to know, but most people, they can't. None of us can see what we're breathing in. But if you did, you'd stop breathing. I say that as a joke, but you practically would. And also filtered water. I mean, I go home to Ireland, I live in the Netherlands, and then I turn on the tap in Ireland and it smells like a swimming pool. I don't think human beings were meant to be drinking, swimming pool water. Do you? But the frequency medicine is the way forward, I think, because it's like you can do anything with frequencies, and there's some fabulous companies out there now bringing out the most amazing technologies, and I know all the people that have the most cutting edge technologies, which is great.
Yes. I found that very fascinating. So definitely everyone should come and speak with you about the latest gadgets for healing and bioresonance and figuring out what actual diseases you have. Because I think a lot of times people don't even know what they have. So how can they treat something they don't know? So tell us some routines you recommend for healthier body, mind, and soul.
Right. So I'll tell you what I do every day. The first thing I do, not every day, because, I'm a human being and some days I'm just not in the mood. I'm not perfect at all. But what I think is very important in the morning is to not pick up your phone. Spend the first 10 minutes. I listen to a wonderful man called Joe Dispenza. He has very positive, maybe a 10-minute video to get your brain in a good place before you get out of bed, because when we wake up, we're still in the the alpha, very low brain frequencies, and if we pick up our phone, before you kiss your partner, you're actually getting that information into that alpha part of your brain, which stays there, and it can affect your whole day. You're like literally just feeling really negative all day, so it brings your frequency down, right? So that's kind of that spiritual moment. And then when you get out of bed, what I do is I do stretching exercises. Very important. My sister's a fitness instructor, so she taught me how to do the whole body in 15 minutes. And then I have my shower, and I make sure to have about 10, 20 seconds cold. Very important. And what I would highly recommend to people is that they fast in the morning. People were told, oh, you need your breakfast. No, if you stop eating around 7 in the evening and push it till about 12 in the afternoon, your body gets time to heal. Fasting heals, right? Now, the commercial world out there don't like people who fast because they don't make money on people who don't eat. But it's a great way to kill off all the old cells, even when we're all making cancer cells all the time. So it gets rid of all the toxins. So that's called intermittent fasting. So those are the things. Sleep, really important. And it's most important to sleep before midnight, because your brain makes fluid that cleans out the brain. And if you, like people who game till 3 in the morning, their brain fluid it's just too much. And then that's why they can't wake up in the morning. Sleep is very, very important. Getting some fresh air, and then just as in, there's. I mean, gosh, I could go on and on, but these are the most important things to do. And make a day in your week, do a full fast, and make sure that one day in the week you give to you, that you cut off no phones, no anything. Just step out of this the rat race of the life we're living in. So and there's so much more I could say, Lily, but these are the most, I suppose, start there.
Thank you. Tell us where people can find out more information about healthy lifestyle choices and to connect with you.
Well, I have a website called Essence for Life. That's Essence as ESSENCE, and the number 4 Life, LIFE.net. And I'm in the process of opening up a wellness center in the city I live in. So that's watch this space, Lily.
Perfect.
Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health changemakers to live your healthiest life ever.